What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys the second installment of the Let's Talk Battle Rap Mailbag series. I did one of these about a little bit over a month ago, and you guys seem to like it, and it's just generally fielding your questions. We put the post out on the Let's Talk Battle Rap main page, which, as many of you really should know at this point, I mention it every time our company comes up, but I am a part of the Let's Talk Battle Rap team, and it's just a way to interact with y'all, just fielding all questions. I mean, it could be drama related, it could be battle rap related, history related, anything within battle rap. That's what we talk about here. So I got a litany of questions here. We're going to start with all the Twitter questions, which will get you screenshots up here. And then as for the Instagram questions, it's going to be more of a shout out by name. I won't be able to pin them up here. But without further ado, man, let's get into answering your guys' questions. So first couple questions here are coming from someone I actually respect a ton in this culture, my guy Rap Redux. You guys should check out his channel if you haven't. Does the documentary style, real career breakdowns, about as good as you're gonna find for taking a specific battler and running through their career and really their life too. Shines a lot of light on the battler and really what makes them the battlers that we know and love. But he has two questions. First one is, who would be your 5 first ballot inductees into a hypothetical battle rap Hall of Fame, and why? And it says all leagues. Talk to him. He's talking about just across all leagues. Which 5 would you do first? Now, I've always said with the Hall of Famer, and I probably said it in passing before, but if we did have a real battle rap Hall of Fame, your first inductees, it would go a bit chronologically, right? So I'm not just putting my 5 best ever. I'm putting the 5 that I think are very key to the beginning. It's more of an impactful thing, right? So first of all, Mook and Lux, absolutely no question, make it for me. There are Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. They're really where the sport begins for a lot of people in a sense, right? After Mook and Lux, I would go Arsenal. And I give Arsenal a hard time in this channel, but in terms of impact, where he is beginning a battle rap to now, and a lot of the things he set up, the structure, you'd have to put him in there. I mean, just a viral machine for a very long time as the most viewed battle rapper. I would also put Averb, another battle rapper that you guys see in real time. I give a hard time because after a while, when legends start losing, I'll start critiquing, but that doesn't change what they did in the past. There was one point in time that I thought Averb had an argument for the best battle rapper of all time, and he is the face of the Midwest movement, which is so pivotal to so many other legends coming after him. And for those that don't know, that's my Mount Rushmore is Mook, Lux, Arsenal, and Verb. Not my 4 best of all time. My 4 when we talk impact in the beginning, pioneering the game. And then my 5th spot would go to Charlie Clips, who is currently the most viewed battle rapper of all time. Possibly is the best peak in battle rap history. I could go on and on about why Clips makes the list, but if we had 5 inductees first, this is not my 5 best battle rappers of all time by any means, but if we're talking Hall of Fame, there's a little bit of a chronological timeline thing. The guys like Geechee, Hitman, Rock, Nitty, and etc., all those guys I think might rank above a few of these guys, quite a few of these guys in an all-time rank, but in terms of Hall of Fame, history, impact, you'd have to start from the beginning, and that's why I'm going Clips, Ars, Verb, Mook, and Lux. And then the second question from Rap Redux is, who would you like to see Surf's return battle be against and why? And there's a few different ways to view this one, but I think the Eazy the Block Captain versus Sue Surf battle would be perfect. The storyline is perfect. When you combine Surf's return with the fact he'd be going after Eazy, hopefully after Eazy battles Rock, you complete the Eazy versus Gun titles. There's so many ways to sell that. I think it would make so much money, and on top of that, I think it would be an even better battle. But if it couldn't be Eazy, because there's all these different options out there, I'd actually love to see Goods battle Surf. It's a battle I was never too keen on, but the thing is, they have a ton of history. They're supposed to have been battled. I think Goods is also a name that makes sense. Goods averages over 1 million views per battle. He is a superstar in his own right, and I want to see a superstar battle for Surf. So far, the only person I've seen dead set that would take the return battle is Danny Myers, and it's just going to come down to who will sign the contract at the end of the day. I think this is a situation where quite a few people we respect as MCs are going to say no. So it might come down to who's going to say yes. I know Mook said basically he's not going to do it, but I want the Eazy the Block Captain battle. That would be my number 1. But if not, I think Goods and Surf, it would be finally time to get that battle done. Thank you for the question, Rap Redux. Like I said, go check out his channel. There's a lot of great content. Next one here is from Call Me Alma, my dude Jason, who I see on the timeline shows a lot of love. And he asked, do we see a path of development for Dollar Bill on RBE? Can RBE offer him enough plates and a career path to stardom? And then ask if he's exclusive or not. I do not believe he is exclusive. With the state of RBE, I don't think they have any exclusive artists. Even everyone that was just on the What Now card kind of battles everywhere now. And if we're talking strictly RBE, like Dollar only taking RBE battles, absolutely not. ARP is where it says I'm not here actively as a league the way I used to be. I throw battles I want to when I want to, and I'll drop them the RBE channel. But the days of RBE being a system that an artist can build stardom off of or be the face of, I think that's gone for now, unless he comes back one day and uses RBE at the full activity like he used to. But Dollar's going to have to travel around. He has traveled around a little bit as well. Battles at OSBL sometimes. I know he battled in New Orleans. I believe that was Capo's league. Let's Be Real Battle League where he battled Hansel. I'm not really sure what bigger opportunity, like what other big leagues he's going to end up going to. If it's going to be a Trenches or a Chrome. If he's going to make that move over to URL, which I always think is smart. You guys can say what you want about URL. They still throw twice as many, sometimes 3 times as many events as like any of the other big time leagues that can build you to stardom. So if we have someone that we think we can be a star, we want to put them in a machine that has the money and opportunities to possibly make them a star. But with that being said, just in terms of RBE, they're not active enough to do that, and I think ARP would say that himself. So no, I don't think he should stop taking battles there. I just don't think if he's only on RBE, he's going to be able to build up there. And then one more here before we get to some of the next ones is from Gooden, D. Gooden, another really day one supporter. Got a lot of love for Gooden, man. And he asked, is Fonz URL's most consistent battler? I think he's in that conversation. There's probably like guys who are of bigger stardom, right? Like a Rock or a Nitty. But just in terms of what I've seen Fonz do the last few years, I'm not really seeing Fonz lose battles. Definitely not clear. And I guess you could say that for Nitty and Rock. I'd say the percentage is low. But you'd have to put him in that. If you ask me who's the most consistent battlers on URL, Rock and Nitty kind of serve a few purposes, but then I'd look at Fonz or Chef Trez just over the last 2 years, and I'm looking at guys that their footage is great every time, and they really just don't lose clear. So in terms of the workhorses, I'd go Fonz and Trez, but I think that this is a fair answer. But like I said, when we're talking about doing it to a higher level too, what they're able to bring in on Gnomes and SMs, playing different pieces from giving shots to headliners and things of that nature, you're going to have people putting Rock and Nitty in that conversation always. So starting our next set of questions, we got one here from Khan, someone I respect and a friend of mine in this battle rap culture. We go back and forth for years, man. And he asked, tell us why it's obvious Nitty is the GOAT, which of course he asked, man. And Rum Nitty is one of my personal favorite battle rappers. Talk about that a lot on the channel here. He is not my GOAT. I do not believe he is the greatest battle rapper of all time. I think you could argue him as high as in the top 5, more towards the bottom of the top 5, like in the 5 spot maybe. For me personally, I've done a top 10 battle rappers of all time video, and his career is not done, his story is not done being written, but I have him a spot or two back from there. But I can give an explanation of why I think he's that high in the conversation as well, because some of you probably don't have him that high. And I think production has got to be the one thing you talk about. I mean, we know material-wise, he gets some of the most creative, well-written, and how did he think of that material of all time, right? People talk about him, and he is the greatest puncher of all time. I don't think there's much of a conversation to have there, but it's how frequent he does it as well. I think he has the same type of schedule you see for like a Geechee Gotti, who is also very high in those conversations, even a Danny Myers, who battles a lot. But I feel like Nitty doesn't have some of the dips that these guys have. Geechee can have times that, he's the West Coast Clips title where we've seen him mail it in quite a few times, although star power-wise, impact-wise, he's definitely ahead of Nitty. And then a Danny Myers is similar to him in terms of straight bars and work rate, but I just don't see Nitty taking as frequent of losses or the fatigue kicking in for him like a guy like Danny Myers. And you look, his resume is getting insane to this point. He has some final legends to cross off the list, but he still has battled mostly all top tiers you can think of. There's just a couple god tiers or legends that just don't battle as much, that haven't locked in yet. A couple like Verb have said vocally that they're scared of the guy, so there's that. But I think that the big thing for me is that he doesn't lose clear all that often, which is a humongous thing. I'm not saying he hasn't lost clear. I can name a ton of Nitty clear losses just because he battled like 80 times, right? But it's not like that often, especially versus high-level competition. There's not too many top tiers, not more than I'd say 7 or 8 that I've seen like beat Nitty, especially since he's entered his prime. And it's the constant battle of the year winners. I mean, the guy is just more than anyone. I think Surf is maybe the only person that could compare in this category, but Nitty might have the most classic battles of all time. And in a culture that's based around either winning clear and dominating or having classics, I mean, him versus Iron Solomon, him versus Av, now him versus Loaded Lux. He won Battle of the Year with him versus A-Ward. You even get to the next level where battles like him versus Chilla Jones is special, him versus Ilmac over on King of the Dot, and I could go on where I really think you could debate he has the most classics of all time, and that's probably the biggest compliment that I could give to his career, and maybe the main point, you know, if I did I could do a whole video for any battle rapper explaining why I think where they're at all time, but for Nitty, if I had to make one point above all, the man is Mr. Classic. So that's my reason of why maybe he's not the GOAT straight up for me, but why he is absolutely, undoubtedly one of the best battle rappers of all time. Our next question here is from IMHBY. Shout out to HBY, man. And he says, big fan of the channel, and he has 2 questions. And his first one is, what do you think could be done to help the various top 6 alumni, top 6 battler classes go up to further tiers on URL? And firstly, to answer that, I think that these guys just have to have performance of the night level performances. I think that there is a bit of just too many of them. And I said this when it was happening, that we just don't need. The first 6 was still being worked on, and then you threw in another 6. That's 12 battle rappers to get plates in between the mid tiers that you have to feed, in between the top tiers that you want to see variety from and see different top tiers. The common complaint with URL is how often they give you the same top tiers on back-to-back cards, right? Geechee's on every card, Hustle's on every card. As much as I praise him, even a Rock and Nitty are on every card. And some of those guys do have to appear more often. They are the best in the world. They are the biggest stars, but I think that there's so many that it's hard, not all these guys are not going to make it. That's just the truth of the matter. But it's really on them to have performance of the night level performances. And there's a little bit of a deeper convo there, because the thing is, I think they get top tiers too early, and it's hard to get performance of the night when you're a bit outmatched or getting opponents that are maybe a little bit too difficult early in your career. But you look at a guy like Eunice that I think is knocking on the door of top tier and might be there by the end of 2025, and he's doing just fine. You look at a guy like Wusa that I've been critical of, but now he's putting more W's together and higher level performances where you're walking away and he's one of the bigger stories of the night. I felt like him beating T-Top. Although I think T-Top had better material, I think Wusa had very good material and pulled out the W because he was more clean. So you really need to put them in positions to succeed for those that have made it to the next level, because some of these guys are projects in development and there is no for sure answer. Everybody doesn't have the same path to success. You have to look at each guy and look at what they need. But at the end of the day, performances of the night, impactful performances, and sometimes that's with win or loss. You know, I personally had Eunice on an edge losing to Rum Nitty. It's an extremely debatable battle, but the performance he gave shut everything down. That's what people were talking about. So at the end of the day, they kind of have to make the magic happen, and the league can't always just hand it to them, right? And then his second question is, who's a newer battler that you think has the potential to make an impact in 2025? And it might be an easy answer because for the last few years, people have known that he's on the climb, but Eunice, man, I think Eunice is about ready to be top tier. I can't say what's going to stamp him. He might be a performance or two away. He might be a gnome away. Maybe he can do what he needs to get there and people won't be ready to give him credit yet. But if there's any battle rapper, especially from these top 12, and I'm also a big fan of what King is doing. Obviously, I said over there at the Trenches and Chrome, I think Wusa is starting to take a next step as well. So there's a short list of guys, but when I look at it, Eunice has been number one in this category for a minute, and I'm ready for him very soon to stamp himself, and then he can go through the Hell's Gauntlet of top tiers and be used as a top talent for his brand. Moving right along, we got a question from Bum, Battle Rap Bum. Many of you guys know him, obviously. Another day one for me. I got a lot of love for Bum, and he asked 2 questions that for me are going to tie together a little bit. What matches do you want to see happen this year, as well as my unfiltered thoughts about the Eazy versus Tay-Rock situation. Now, for the matches, I do plan on doing a wish list video just like last year with like 6 or 7 bullet points from matches to like concepts concepts I want to see from the year, so I won't give away all the sauce in this one. But if I had to say, first of all, Eazy versus Rock, I think is a battle that has to happen. Mega match, free money going on over there. Rum Nitty versus Calico, I've been asking for years. I'm not going to stop fucking asking, so that as well. And then also, there's a few different Hitman mega matches out there. I've personally said the Loaded Lux match is the one I want most, but I think at the very least, him versus New Jersey Twerk with the modern climate we're in has to go down this year. So that's just a little peek into maybe some of the things I'll have on the list. But then my unfiltered thoughts on one of those battles, Eazy versus Rock. I did a video a while back talking about this is the battle with no raps, for anyone that wants to go find that. And everything I feel like I said about over a year ago with that battle is still happening now. It's a war of egos before anything. One guy is representing URL, one guy is representing Chrome, and they both want it on their leagues, right? So that's not the sexy answer, but that's the reality of like why it's so hard to get done, right? And everyone knew that from the minute it happened. However, the one thing that puts the pressure on Rock in this situation, and I said it when it happened, is that when he turned down the Power Moves offer, neutral ground is our best chance of this battle going down, right? And Power Moves was perfect. Look at the mega style event it turned out to be anyways. It's absolutely not in either of their favors, I don't believe. But Rock is the one that said no to the situation. And then it's, they've both flip-flopped on their story a lot. Neither of them have really been solid in their stance, but Rock has went from I will battle him to like I won't battle him to I don't want to get money with him to all these different reasons. So for Rock, but like I said, both in the public are flippy-floppy, but Rock has like kind of more of a history of doing this with situations, right? And the one neutral ground, the one situation that we're like, wait, that would make sense, he's the one that said no. So undoubtedly, I think the pressure is a bit more on him. But to be fair as well, I think there is one unfair critique Rock gets in this situation. It's that somehow everyone's understanding of Eazy not going to URL, right? Like him not going back in their history. But some people think that like Rock is obligated to go get the battle done at Chrome. Like when Eazy's like, yo, we're going to do it at Chrome, tell him to do it at Chrome or stop talking. Why is that more fair than that? You know what I mean? I don't think that he's obligated whatsoever. So if we know that it's not going to go down in either of these leagues, why are people yelling at Rock like, oh, you got to go take the Chrome plate? For me, that's ridiculous. I'm not really blaming him for not doing it if Eazy just as well is not going to go over to URL. But the one time neutral ground was presented, he is the one that said no. And whether that's for URL, not because, people like URL told him no. This guy is more tied to URL than anyone in history. He's been the face of the company for over a decade. So him being a little bit more loyal makes a ton of sense. He's given main event after main event, Summer Madness main event. Like the amount of money put in his pockets, I do understand that. But like I said, there was one chance for neutral ground. He's the one that said no. So in terms of who the pressure is on a little bit more in this situation, even though Eazy's the one that's coming off like the loss to Suge and all the noise is on him, Rock, you're the one that said no to the one situation that made sense. So that's kind of my thoughts at the moment on it, but I still really want to see this battle go down. But then from there we go to Daniel, aka Him Hungry. The brother is hungry, right? And he asked, where do you rank Thesaurus versus Ilmac in regards of impact to battle rap, the battle rap culture, and what do you rank the top 10 most impactful battles? I cannot possibly give my rank on the top 10 most impactful battles right now. So many things to consider, so I just can't, I don't have the time, or I'm not really equipped to fully answer that part. But as for the Thesaurus and Ilmac question, and maybe he's asking if it ranks in the top 10, it kind of just depends on the demographic that you started watching battle rap from, right? Because Thesaurus and Ilmac, for a lot of people, is going to be like what Lux and Mook was. You know what I mean? Where it's these two legends, like pillars. For the same way I said earlier in the video, Lux and Mook is my like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain of battle rap. If you have a guy that's real base of battle rap and background knowledge is Grind Time and King of the Dot, that's what Thesaurus and Ilmac is for them, right? And it's a classic in its own right, absolutely, them so early in their careers. So it really does depend on who you ask. It shapes a whole different section of battle rap, and there is kind of subgenres within our subgenre of hip hop. So if somebody wanted to argue it in the top 10 most impactful, I really couldn't be mad at it. But their top 10 most impactful would probably look a lot different than mine, because I don't know if I put Thesaurus and Ilmac in my top 10. It is pivotal to the overall landscape of battle rap. It definitely has a debate, but there's so many different foundational battles, and then later 10 million view, 2015 going forward battles or 2012 going forward battles that are also super key to battle rap, even though they're not like pioneer level battles. So my thing is, it's a debatable topic. It is ridiculously impactful, but it does kind of depend on who you ask and really what style of battle rap they consume more than anything. And then from there, we have Trench Mob Media, who gives a lot of people a hard time on the timeline. I see you, Trench Mob Media. And they ask, obviously, there's rumblings that this is the last year for COTY. There is no rumblings. Jay Black said it is the last year. Is there any award shows in the future? Most views, most breakout stars. So kind of asking if anything of that nature is going to come up. I don't know yet. I'm assuming someone's going to fill in that gap. I know over us, the Let's Talk Battle Rap team, we're always going to have our end of the year awards, and maybe we'll kick it up a notch with the absence of COTY. I can't predict what that landscape will look like quite yet, but I will say that there will be award shows in the future of some sort. I don't know if there will be a full panel. I doubt that it'll ever get to that level of production, because what Black created is beyond special, and I don't know how easy that'll be to replicate for anybody. But there will be no lack. There has to be an MVP award for battle rap, because that's what adds the competitive nature. I think COTY showed that to everybody. So I can't tell you that they're definitely what there will be, but there absolutely will be something, and people will still rank breakout stars. People will still rank battle of the year, events of the year, and things of that nature. So even though COTY might be at its end, there will always be something to replace that from here on out if the sport wants to continue to grow. So we got 4 more questions, or 4 more people asking questions, I should say, because some have multiple questions, but our next left on Twitter. But our next one is from Ty4X, someone else that I see showing a lot of love all the time, and he asked 3 questions. So I'm going to answer this kind of machine gun style here for the sake of time. Do you think the last year for COTY or WOTY will be the most competitive? Yes, I do. I think that's a great question, because the minimum is being brought from 4 battle requirement to 3. That's confirmed, talking to Black all the time. So it is going to be back to 3 battles to make it, and there's a lot of legends talking about making it. A Hitman Holla, Murda Mook has talked about his level of activity. I think Rex is going to be outside in the same fashion again, plus guys like Eazy, Chess, Av, once again, all saying that I want to have a run for the last, if it's going to be the last year of COTY. So yes, I do think it's going to be the most competitive. He then asked, do you think there's a way Eazy can overcome this Remy Ma angle before it ruins his career? I don't think it's in any threat to ruin his career. Now, has it caused him some losses? Has it made life harder on him? Absolutely, but the guy was not going to keep that 15 battle, debatable 15. There's 1 or 2 debatables. I think he mostly won all those clear, but there was never going to be a world that he just won forever. So there's going to be a change up in his career. You could debate that he's 1-4. I have him 1-4 in his last 5, but you could debate that he beat John, right? So you could say he's 2-3, definitely beat Will. And he's not really ass in any of these battles, short of clips, which I know his mother passed beforehand, so that could explain that a little bit more. And he did lose pretty bad to Geechee as well, but he's not just flat out ass. So I don't think his career is going to be ruined. I think it is one of the biggest angles of all time. There's no question, but we've seen people overcome great angles, like a Tay-Rock with the whole Briz situation, right? So I don't think it's going to ruin his career. I just think with time, he could get more and more back into the win column, but he's getting motivated versions of legends with a crazy angle out there. It's going to be a hard time for a while, and who knows, we might be coming up to the tail end of it, because now we're looking at a few people that really got after him with the angle. And then the last question is, what's one battle/moment that has to happen on URL this year? And for me, with how active he's talked about being, you have to mend that relationship with a Hitman and get a Hitman return on URL. It is so simple. I think him versus Twerk would be the perfect battle to do it for, because I know him versus Lux and him versus Mook is going to cost an arm and a leg to book, and they already gave a very good run at booking him versus Mook. So I think whether it's Hitman versus Twerk, maybe they revisit Hitman and Mook. Who knows, in this culture of battle rap, anything could happen, but you have to get the Hitman return on URL with how active he's being, and I think it would be great business for both sides. So thanks for the questions, Ty. We have Khalil, who asked, is Surf versus Ill Will the greatest mirror match of all time if it happens, and gives examples like Khan and Magic, Nitty and Twerk, and who would I have winning? Kind regards to you as well, Khalil. I don't think it would be, because I don't think it's a super mirror match. There's things, I think you could even argue that Ill Will is maybe a little bit more well-rounded, gets into the comedy more, gets into some other things, while what Surf is great at, he's this next height, possibly the best big stage battle rapper we've ever seen, one of the most polarizing, at least, very based in the flow pockets more than Will. And if I had to pick a winner, especially with the way Surf was looking before he left, I would take Sue Surf to beat Ill Will. You have to factor in the way Will has looked recently too. not completely washed, but definitely a step or two back. So I would have Sue Surf clearly winning that battle, and I think it'd still be a great battle. I think it'd be a great battle to book, and I've asked for it at different points in time. Probably would have been better a few years back. But yeah, not the best mirror match. Would have Sue Surf winning clear. My guy, Sun Woo John asked, who do you have winning in a potential Rock versus Eazy matchup, and why? So different than like just the situation. Who do I have winning? And I have had this opinion for quite some time, and even with the way Eazy has looked recently, even with the angles on him, I still think that the Rock matchup is super advantageous for Eazy. I think style-wise, a lot of things go Eazy's way, and I would have him winning the matchup, and dare I say, clearly winning the matchup versus Rock. Now, does that mean that Rock can't be easier? It's not possible. These guys have the potential to 30 each other, so Rock could 30 Eazy, and that's not out of the realm of possibilities either, let alone clearly win. But Rock might be the one guy that, while Eazy is like super angleable, he might be the only other guy that's just as angleable. There's so many critiques for Tay-Rock out there, and it's about them being in the public eye and polarizing figures. And I think the way Eazy is so polarizing, and you can attack those topics on him, and everyone's willing to hear it, there's just as many people that critique Rock for things inside and outside of the ring that turn into angles, and would also want to see a breakdown and be very receptive to what's being said to him. I think Eazy is a better angler than Rock at that, and I think if we're talking about someone that now you're not just the one that has the angles going against you, you have someone just as equal that they want to hear angles for as well. He's a better angler in that matchup. I think he could present it a little bit better. And that's why even though Rock could go haymaker, 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 and still probably win the battle, we've seen him punch through angles that way. Hell, he debatably beat Geechee standing in front of one of the biggest angles of all time. But I do think it's a matchup that helps Eazy. It will come down to a war of angles. And if they're kind of evenly matched in that department in terms of what can be said to each other, I like Eazy to go ahead and win that matchup. So I would have him 2-1 versus Tay-Rock. And then our last Twitter question from someone who asked a great question last time. I always pronounce it wrong. I probably pronounce it wrong, so my bad if I do. But it's Do X Latrina, and he says, what are 3 dream matches that will stay a dream because of how unrealistic they are? And this one is always pretty easy for me. Lux versus Daylight. Shit's never going to happen, but we know what it could do for the culture. Khan versus Rum Nitty. Conceited versus Nitty, which hurts my heart because you guys know that is like the punchline, ultimate endgame battle, but Khan is not coming back to battle rap. And I don't know the specific matchup I think of, but really any Briz battle. I think Briz is out of here. I don't think Briz is coming back. Not anytime soon. I don't think he's coming back ever. And with that being said, that means that situation of how he'll respond to the angle, his explosiveness in battle rap, and maybe someone executing that angle, we're never going to see that situation play out. So a Briz return, Khan versus Nitty, and Lux versus Daylight, they would all make my heart smile. But unfortunately, those are 3 battles that I think will never see the light of day. And then the last section of questions here is our Instagram questions. You can go to the Let's Talk Battle Rap Instagram. If you didn't know, we have it. Yes, we do. We post the quotes there and a lot of the same stuff. We always go through this section a little bit quicker, but I'm still going to answer them. It looks like we got about 5 submissions here. First one is from Richie Smalls. What are the odds of a Battle Rap Olympics? It sounds like it could unify everything, and who would you send? So I think they're low just because I don't think we're anywhere close to that. I have big visions for battle rap where I think people love the competition of anything. I mean, even in hip hop, look what Drake and Kendrick did. A little different. I know we're talking musical artists, but people like the competition of rap. I don't know if it'll ever make it to that level in the a cappella version. So I'll say very low. Very, very low, the odds of it happening. But if we did have to send 5, I'm going to give 5 people to send as our Olympic team. I'd go Tay-Rock and Sue Surf when he gets out. The run he was on before it got locked up, I just think it doesn't just make sense for star power. I think that he's in form to do it. I would go Hitman Holla as well. Biggest draw that we have in battle rap right now. Geechee Gotti to kind of go there with Tay-Rock is probably the 2 lead faces when you think of guys that had a run as the face of URL. And then my last pick would be Rum Nitty, one of the best bar for bar, if not the best bar for bar guy that we have in battle rap. His activity is second to none. I think Twerk is someone I would debate in there, but for consistency reasons compared to a Nitty, if I had to give one of those spots up, I just think Nitty's consistency takes him over the top. But we have tons of good people that would be great candidates to make the team. But for me, Nitty, Geechee, Rock, Surf, Hitman would be the 5 that I would send to represent the U.S. in that situation. TPC Scott with the wit asked top 5 matches you want to see this year, and we'll kind of go to some of those answers earlier, right? Eazy versus Tay-Rock. I'm not going to cheat and name all the Hitman matches, but any of those Hitman mega matches, whether it's Twerk, whether it's Lux, whether it's Mook, Rum Nitty versus Calico is also one that I want to see. Also, and this is one we might not be able to see, and maybe we'll go in that we're never going to get a category. I still want Jazz versus Miss Hustle, the rematch. It's not a lot of times in battle rap that rematches make sense. These women are still at the top of their game, better than ever, and still probably the two best in the world. You could throw Coffee in that conversation more now than before. But it's one I want to see. It's upsetting that it's one that didn't go down. There's so many mega matches we're supposed to get. There's no real reason for that to not happen besides them not wanting to do it, which is ass. It's very, very ass. But I still want to see Jazz versus Hustle, the rematch. And then I want to see Fonz versus John Don. I think it's a great challenge to go directly against Fonz's style. I think he's a top tier. I think John is a very respectable top tier in his own right. And I think that they'd have a war up there that would be not only a worthwhile battle for John, but a milestone plate in Fonz's career. So that would be the 5 matches that I would probably pitch. That I would be elated if all 5 of them went down. Andres the Genius asked, what happened to the podcast? And why are you robbing us of good takes? That's more of a question for France. Maybe that's something we'll think about bringing back. I'll tell you right now, we've talked a little bit more about bringing audio content back for the Let's Talk Battle Rap platform. Classic count for any of you that remember that series, the podcast. So if you guys want to see more of that from the Let's Talk Battle Rap channel, let me know in the comment section down below, man. It's more realistic to happen than I think some of you realize. Febtino, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, it's Febtno, asks, can Shotgun Suge go on a run in 2025? Well, I believe you started it, man. I believe you started it with the win versus Eazy the Block Captain. Incredible performance there. And there's still battles that he asked for, which is why I will never listen to, we battle all of our top tier ops. Like, we don't have anyone else to battle. It's unfair. It's not unfair. You got battles out there. He's asking for Head Ice. Hollow, I think, would be great. I'm not mad at the Calico rematch. There's some of those rematches I think make sense for him. Him and Cal in Detroit would be crazy. I don't really want to see him rematch Swamp, but even then, there's other battle rappers we could put together. I think definitely maybe a COTY run. I'm not sure. I mean, he started out well, but a run, absolutely possible in 2025. And then our last question for the mailbag, Richard Cole asked, whose peak in battle rap is your favorite and whose peak is the best? I love that question. So in terms of my favorite, 2013 B Magic holds a special place in my heart. It's one of my favorite single years in battle rap. If we were ranking MVP seasons, I would guarantee you that he would have a COTY in 2013, and it was just special what he did. Tay-Rock battle, Charlie Clips battle. I could go on and on. I love B Magic's 2013, but who do I think has the best peak in battle rap? I think you'd have to give that to the early 2010s Charlie Clips, and I'd say from when he beat Tay-Rock the first time, which is like, what's that, 09, 2010, up until 2014, and those that remember 2014 Clips, or was just Clips 3-0 in the comment section everywhere, even though he actually took a couple losses in 2014. That's when the bullshitting began a little bit, but from like 09 to 2014, the man was an entertainer. He was a big stage specialist before we realized this sport could consistently be on big stages. Bar for bar, at a time where not everyone, we didn't have our nitties yet and all these people, you still had conceded, and then Magic obviously came, but you know, Clips was up there bar for bar as well. Freestyling, he was the best at the time. As like I said, as an entertainer, as a performer, he was just maxed out, 99 overall. And I still think that early 2010s Charlie Clips is still probably pound for pound the best battle rapper that our sport has ever seen. But that is it here, the end of our second Let's Talk Battle Rap mailbag series. I know I get a critique sometimes in the comments. I talk fast as hell. I apologize, people, particularly for this video, though. A lot of questions to run through, and I want to give as detailed and as like real answers that you could take with you as possible. So this one, more than ever, had to talk a little bit faster, but I always appreciate you guys tapping in. You could follow on the Let's Talk Battle Rap Twitter, which is where I think most people follow us at, or Let's Talk Battle Rap on Instagram, and we will put out kind of the bat signal when it's mailbag time. It'll probably be a little over a month again, you know, we'll see, but it's becoming a more regular series on here, and I think it's a great interaction. You guys give me different topics that I don't always get to cover on this channel, or questions that just kind of shock me and I have to think a little bit harder for it. So follow us on Twitter or Instagram. I can leave those both down in the in the description down below, as well as I always have my social medias. If you want to see more content, I'm always active on Twitter. I'm trying to get better on Instagram. I know I'm not the best on Instagram. I'm trying to get better over there, but follow us all down there. And when the mailbag series, we're kicking up for it again, we'll send it out there, and I'll be taking any questions from you guys. Like I said, it could be on the drama side. I haven't got anything too dramatic yet, but don't be scared to ask a drama-based question either. I'll answer that as well as all of the straight-up battle rap talk, because that's all I'm about over here, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.